In this video, I'm with my friend who sold 15 million used books on Amazon last year, and his goal is 20 million this year. He started in 2019, and in this video, we're gonna break down his business model and whether or not selling books on Amazon is good.
Favorite part about selling books on Amazon?
Every part about selling books on Amazon, employing people and giving the opportunity to pay their bills, I guess.
Worst part about selling on Amazon?
Dealing with people.
So how do you handle being such a good-looking guy and your business at the same time, like girls and the stress of that?
Big distraction. Guys, don't get distracted from women. It's expensive and it takes a lot of time, and just invest on buying more books, don't invest in women.
What's your repricing philosophy?
Lowest offer. Try to sell the inventory as quick as possible, but don't underprice.
If there was a perfect repricer, what would it do? Like, if God made like a perfect repricing software.
Floor price, maybe based on last 90 days data, not on the actual current offer, I think.
All right, 2019 Shirzad, he's just getting into the business. You in 2019, what advice, if you go back in time, you have 2 minutes to talk to yourself, what do you tell yourself in 2019, like honestly?
I might have to say something that is discouraging, but I probably would tell myself to get into another business. I thought the margin would have been the same. I thought that there has been a lot of things that happened, like inflation and everything that has changed. Cost of labor, they have changed. I mean, in a matter of 5 years, you know, private expenses of everything went up 50%, but we didn't see an increase of the cost of the books going 50% up. Actually went down. So that's probably what I would tell myself, is try to get into something else.
Craziest book selling story you have that happened to you personally?
Good question. The toughest one probably was a flood we had September 2021 in our warehouse. We had about 13 inches of water because of the Ida hurricane, and it destroyed about 25% of our inventory.
Damn.
It took us 6 months to recover for the full loss.
So what'd you do to recover from that?
Just work harder as before, just try to buy more inventory, delay some payments to recover from the cash flow, because obviously you're selling like 20% less every month, you know, for the full 6 months, and then after that, you know, we're back to normal.
So this is how all of his books are sorted. You can see there's an assembly line. He's got different pallets for different destinations, whether he's sending them to FBA, merchant fulfilled, whether he's selling them on eBay, different locations. Look at this good looking guy. We're about to go in the room and dive into it. What up guys, I'm here with Shirzad, and if you guys want to follow him, I'll link his social media below. Do you want to tell them real quick how you got started in 2019 and how you scaled to the point where your goal is to do 20 million this year?
Yeah, so we just started by buying books from donation centers, just a few euros at a time. Scale, you know, from few euros to 12 to 15 to 20 every week. Hired employees, and by 2025 we have 6 employees, 38,000 square feet warehouse, and differentiating, selling not only on Amazon and eBay, but also, you know, 2 different wholesale programs.
And most people watching this channel are either like they just got started selling books, or they've been selling books for a while. I know you kind of had mixed opinions on whether or not like everyone should get started selling books, and sometimes you're like, I wish maybe I would have done something like private label. Do you want to talk a little bit about that and like who books are for specifically, and just a little bit about the business and what people should know before getting into it?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the market is getting always harder. it's been harder for me starting 2019 than for the people that started in 2015. It's becoming very saturated, and fees have increased, and at the same time also inflation hasn't helped, cost of labor and everything. And at the same time, the cost of the books itself hasn't gone up. We haven't seen any inflation affecting the cost of used books. I wouldn't recommend people getting into the industry right now if they're trying to do something very big. It really depends from what's their goal. If someone is trying to become a multimillionaire, I don't think selling used books is the way. I think this is the best people that should get into the book industry are those people that already have a job, or they have a part-time job, and they just want to do this as a side hustle, where they can probably buy books and they have maybe a storage space or a garage that they don't use. They have space and you can just do this part-time and FBA only. I don't recommend getting to the emotion fulfillment because that's a completely different business.
What up, guys? Today I'm joined here with Shirzad, who is a bookseller who's sold 15 million. Is my number in my head, but what are you at right now? Last year, 2020.
2024, we didn't finish the actual numbers, but should be about 50 million. In 2025, we're projecting probably about 20 million.
Yeah, and you started in 2019.
February 2019. Yes.
You're friends with David Vishal. I brought them on the channel. Vishal's spoken at Miami Sellers Conference. You're speaking at Miami Sellers Conference. That's an announcement right there. So walk us through like how you guys started, why you guys started. If you want to kind of walk people through how you guys started and why you guys started with books.
We started in 2019. It was me and my business partner. We used to be housemate in college. Then I moved to, he went to study in LA, California. I moved to New York to start working. He came to visit me for a Thanksgiving. So it was Thanksgiving 2018. And he just told me about this Amazon world and people selling books. And I'm like, oh, wow, this sounds interesting. Then he told me, yeah, you should look into like these donation centers and stuff. So then I just drove by and I called a Salvation Army store, which was nearby, Newark, because I'm in Jersey. Actually, no, it was Jersey City. And I asked them for a contact. They gave me a contact of someone that was selling loads. And I just called and we bought a truck, 8 Gators, something like that. And we rented a U-Haul, and then we put in a storage space. We started like scanning that from inside the Gator.
Wait, so you didn't even like do cherry picking at all?
No.
Okay.
No. We just went straight and asked for like buying Gators. And we didn't have any plug. We just did it.
And why was it on his radar? He was seeing people like on YouTube or like Instagram or
this was referred to him from another friend. His name was Lorenzo. We used to do the same in California many years ago. And then he got out of the business in 2019, something like that.
That's funny because I know Lorenzo in California.
They're probably not the same.
Yeah, the one I was telling you about.
And then nothing. I mean, like we just started. At the time in 2019, the margins were much higher than now. And we were using ScalaQ. And I remember we used to check, scan the books. We were just doing FBA or reject. So we're scanning the book and we were writing on a piece of paper, how much profit we were making out of the Gator. And then the returns were insane. Obviously, they're not correct. Yeah. But the returns were insane. We were like, wow, this is going to make more money than anything, guys. Yeah. And so we just kept like putting leverage on credit cards and just buying always more material. And then we got the first employee after 2 months and we kept going.
With credit cards, you were mainly buying inventory or what was like the big expense?
So with the credit cards, it's actually pretty funny what we were doing, which I don't even know if it's legal. We couldn't buy inventory with credit card because you have to pay with ACH. So what we were doing was, was connected the credit card to my bank account. Yeah. And then I was sending money to my business partner, 1,000 at a time, so they would take money from the credit card and use those money to buy, inventory.
Yeah.
So we were able to pull like $20,000 until they found out, and then they blocked the card.
Yeah.
And I couldn't use the card anymore.
it was still an open balance, so he had to pay back. So my credit went to shit. Yeah. But $20,000, like he had, to just start.
Yeah. I'm sure people are curious. Like, I remember back in 2019 when I was like, because I started technically like 2015, 2016, like with textbooks. And then I went to Trend the Page Fix. Caleb Roth used to throw those. And I remember in 2019, people were complaining about how much worse it was selling books in 2019 compared to 2015. It's so much harder now. Like every 5 years, people say it's gotten like way worse.
Yeah.
But people are still making money doing this and people are still growing their businesses. So obviously something's working. But like, were you profitable on that first round of books?
Yeah. So I think the reason why, we were able to get into the, to break the barrier and get into this, book industry was because in 2019, a lot of people went out of business. And so obviously also in our area. So there was a little more supply. The reason was because, FBA in 2019, it was when the FBA, that was in 2021. But in 2019, FBA just increased their fees by a lot. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I think a lot of people went out of business, or like a lot of these donation centers has extra loads, and then also recycling was negative. So people were used to get paid like maybe over $100 a ton in this area, and then they went from that to like minus 20, and so basically it destroys your margins.
Yeah.
So the recycling was actually, we had a huge problem moving recycling, even though we were just doing maybe a load every 2 weeks, not even, maybe a week.
Some people don't know what that means. Recycling, you mean like your dud books, a company's coming and picking them up, a recycler,
yes,
and they're paying you for the books.
Yeah, I mean, at the time we were paying like $20 a ton or something.
So you were paying that?
I was paying, yes. Yeah. And there was even like, and you were lucky even if they were picking it up. This was the situation in 2019.
Yeah.
But it was still profitable. The only reason is, probably our rent was a few $100s. We had 2-3 employees. We were not paying insurance or like workers' compensation or anything like that. We didn't have a structure. We didn't have overheads. We didn't have an office. We did not have our own trucks. Now we have our own box trucks. So by not having the many overheads, of course, it's profitable because the book, let's say you sell it on FBA and, you sell it for $10, and at the time it was 39% net on every book you were selling. So out of the $10, $4 or $5 comes in your pocket, and then maybe costs you, you just have cost of inventory and a couple of employees. So you really don't have any overheads. But by the time you grow, things change a lot, and especially like also margins in the last year or two have changed a lot in this industry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I was just thinking about what you said about David and how I interviewed David on my channel a few years ago. You guys can go check that video out where I'm in his warehouse. And I think David's like not really given that many tips as like he could have been like really open about it, But I feel like that actually has like the inverse effect that the person wants to have. I feel like people that watch the video are then like, oh shit, like he's a lot of money.
I mean, I think it really depends I think there is either here to tell people, I don't know, we're not here to tell people what to do, but we can probably advise people.
Yeah.
So I think the first question, maybe like someone that wants to get into the book industry or is like now doing, you just get into the book industry. I think the first question I would ask is, what's your end goal? Like how much money you want to make in your life? Like how old are you now? Are you 14, 13, 18, 19? And what's your goal? What's your vision in 5 or 10 years from now? If your vision is to become anywhere close to a multi-millionaire, you're probably in the wrong industry. It's also the wrong time to get into this industry. If your goal is to just pay your bills, maybe pay your rent, so pay your bills, being able to go out for dinner sometimes in your life, then I think you can get there with this business.
Yeah, or just like get your whole family together. Like I know there's a lot of immigrants that are like killing it in the business, like in the Turkish community. Like if you guys would just rather like scan books all day.
Yeah, I mean, I think yeah, but to scale it the way we did, and try to get to a $15-20 million business in the next 5 years, the way we did 6 years. The timing is different. So the same way was tough for me, because instead of starting in 2019, if I would have started in 2015, probably now it would be, a much bigger company. And obviously for who's getting in now, it's going to be even harder. So the timing I think is not the best. And second is, if I, for the amount of work and amount of responsibility that I had to put into this business, probably if I put it to something else, it would have been much better, to be honest. Like,
Yeah, grass is always greener.
We have a company that it's we have 3 shifts. We're open 24 hours. We have 56 employees. We have a cash flow which is millions of dollars a month. There is, you have a lot of employees, a lot of responsibility. You have trucks on the road. It's a lot of transportation, so logistics behind this business, inventory. You have a bad month, is a massive cash flow because it's a low margin business. So it's if you put it to something else, you can make a lot more money, even by selling any other product on Amazon Prime. Yeah. You can make a lot more money with a less.
Yeah, I think there is pros and cons, because you have like online arbitrage. And like I said, the grass is always greener. Like, shout out to Stefan Does Business. He'll be speaking in Miami too. He did 1.7 million in 1 month, all online arbitrage.
That's great.
But the difference between your business and his business, in my opinion, is like, yeah, he probably made 20% net. So he fucking crushed it. But that brand could be pulled from him. That deal he's getting from the website could be gone. Maybe he's using gift cards and, it'll be gone overnight. So it's more of like in my opinion, online arbitrage doesn't have like the sustainability that books does. Whereas like, at least with books, you're going to get these keywords every week. You get these cart loads in. Maybe you have a bunch of overhead, whatever, but it's consistent. Shipments are getting pushed out the door. So I think the consistency with books is kind of what's attractive to it. And don't get me wrong, like with wholesale too, there's that consistency. Like Thousand Masons, I was telling you about him earlier. 17 million a year. He'll also be in Miami. Shout out MiamiSellersConference.com. And he has very consistent sales, consistent sources, all that. So I think the consistency there, but I'm sure you talk to him like behind the scenes, like he's selling courses now. And I'm sure like in his head, like course money is like the best money for him. He's like, I have my Amazon business. It's making millions a year, but it fucking sucks because at the end of the year, I made 2 million, but I spent 1.7 extra. So I really only had like 300 cash flow or something like that. And then he's like, well, now I just need to sell shit ton of courses because I see Flips for Miles, who's also going to be at Miami Sellers Conference, making fucking whatever, selling courses. So then like the grass is always greener. You got to kind of pick your poison. I guess from like your perspective, there's somebody watching this, just like you watched me a few years ago, interview David. There's somebody behind the camera right now watching this that maybe they're an immigrant, maybe they're a drug addict, maybe whatever. Like who do you think this business is good for? And maybe there's somebody else who's like really driven and like that. Like I want to fucking work 12 hours a day and they want to become a multimillionaire in 3 years. Maybe this business isn't for them. Like what kind of person do you think should enter the business? And then we can talk about what they should do when they enter it.
I think this is a perfect business for people that want to do it as a part-time. That maybe they already have, maybe a full-time job or another part-time job. And then maybe they just get a storage space, buy a few gators or cherry picking and just pre-selling. I think they can easily get to, $20,000 a month in sales, and they probably can bring home like 2,000-3,000. That's a lot of money, extra. Yeah. So I think this is the best for this, for people who want to try to get into this business, and would focus. If I were them, I would focus on FBA. So buy a affiliate or just do FBA, because once you start doing merchant fulfilled, then it becomes a completely different type of operations. And by these changes of rates that has happened, and then that are going to happen in the future, most likely they will not be able to be as competitive as the big companies. Mm-hmm. So I think the focus should be FBA, and it's like a lot less stable.
Yeah. We got at his level, how many hours a week does he work? He doesn't work at all, guys.
Well, it depends. Like I think once you get to these situations, like in this size, you're not really working. Like meaning you have overhead, you have people in your office, so you have assistant office manager. We have 5 warehouse managers, so you kind of delegate everything. But the truth is that your brain is always working, even before you go sleep, even when you wake up, or even when you're taking a shower, because it's a lot of moving parts. And you can even have a call at 3 a.m. which happened while you're sleeping on a Friday night, because maybe the conveyor is breaking, or maybe there is a leak in the warehouse. The other day one of the heater broke, so you're not working like the typical work that everybody else does, but it's you're always working with your brain basically.
Yeah.
And then obviously once you get to this point, you're always thinking, okay, what should be my next investment so that I can increase my worth, and like we were talking yesterday.
Yeah. Who do you think, or like what type of person in the industry do you feel like is like, what kind of personality does best with book selling, like at scale?
Hard work. I mean, this is a very hard working job, right? This is someone that wants to put the head down and doesn't care. He's okay to wake up at 5 a.m. and he gets it done.
Yeah. You probably need like leadership skills too, like to be good with people.
I mean, I think to grow it, up to a certain level, I think it's, as long as you're a hard worker, someone that he can get his hands dirty, he doesn't get tired easily, he's not lazy, he can get it done. Then when you get to a higher level, I mean, definitely you need to have some leadership skills. I mean, it's usually, this is also the funny thing about the book business. Usually a company that has 6 employees is probably a company that is extremely successful. While in the book business, you have 6 employees and, it's still like, you're still a bookseller. Yeah. Doesn't matter which it. But yeah, it definitely requires, a leadership skills, because it's not easy to deal with 60 people every day.
Mm-hmm. I think some people kind of underestimate like what it would take to be like in your position. I think for you it kind of comes naturally to manage a lot of people, but like some of these kids I know, like they're putting big numbers on Amazon, but I'm like, I don't think they could like manage anyone like the way. Like I think they're successful because they're good at finding profitable products. They can use a prep center, and that's it. But if it came to them like managing like a team, I think that's a whole nother set of skills.
I mean, it's very easy. Like let's say you have 20 business days in a month. If just one day you're down, it's 5% of what of your production. Let's say if your margins are like 5 to 10%, whatever it is, if you have 1 or 2 days down out of a month, just because things are not going the way you want, but if your production goes down 5% a month,
yeah,
you're not making money.
Yeah.
So, and then yeah, I think what's not for everybody, it just like there is an amount of responsibility that I have right now, which I would have never thought I was able to deal with, in 2019 when I was like 24 years old. But then you just get used to it. Mm-hmm. Like, at one point you realize, okay, every day there is some shit going on. So you're like, okay, either I accept that, if I want to make money, my life has to be like this. Yeah. But otherwise, you can just chill down, like, not have maybe, expensive stuff that I like, and just have a regular average lifestyle. But if you want to have a good life, you want to buy, this stuff that you really enjoy,
yeah,
and an expensive car, expensive clothes, living, in the middle of Manhattan, I accept them. Like, okay, it's a trade-off. Yeah. I want to have this lavish lifestyle, but at the same time, I gotta accept that it's a fucking headache.
Yeah,
like you always have headache, whether when you wake up, when you go to sleep, you never relax. You never relax. Basically.
Speaking of that, like, is your end goal acquisition in the book business?
Yes, but yeah, absolutely. We're trying to differentiate, again, as I said before, we could look in other ideas, so that it doesn't necessarily have to be someone in the book business that want to acquire us. but maybe someone that is more interested to direct to consumer product. So, but yeah, I mean, that's the goal. That's the goal, 100%.
Yeah.
All right, guys. If you guys want to see Shirzad in person, go to MiamiSellersConference.com, get your tickets. He'll be there speaking about something, probably used books. But yeah, look forward to seeing you guys in person. Got any last words for him, Shirzad? That's it.
Boom. Much love. Peace out, guys.